กันนี่เหรอนี่
คือบอกว่านี่ตัวนี้
ฟิลเจนเอาไว้ก็ตอนนี้ก็ได้ครับกันดีพาร์ตเมนต์เขาเรียกหลังใจเราโม่กันอีกแล้วครับจู่กันติดตามตัวจู่นี่ไหมโอ้ยครับแล้วโอ้ละโอ้ยครับแล้วก็อินทร์เทม Hello
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
yes sir
chat box ka in roll number ka a full in type vek roll le pata ka attendance sa kan record thang okay so there are 24 of you now I believe so I think I can start my lecture so the class is supposed to be I think only about 30 or 40 minutes since we are not having class regularly I'm not yet familiar with any of you so again I will request you yeah I will request you yeah to turn on your video just for today's class because just to be familiar with your faces okay so roll number 5093 please unmute yourself roll number 093 your name BS093 roll number BS093 can you hear me
yes sir
yeah please yeah tell me your name
Alwat Fela
Alright fella okay fella chuanin amo samo pakati amo say roll number angele roll number okay
065
065 then roll number 339 Ming zero le
Zong Sang
Zomon Sanga chuan pakhat si dinati oma Steven ati oma okay 272 your name Anita mo. Okay. 268 here. Philip mo 268 or Philip ajo ka khria. Nge kha Mr. Contest to mo. Kala se. 1080. Now 1080 means la mo Daniela mo la cái câu thế với lo point mình cả khi nào rồi mỗi phiên trên cái roll number 77 here.
Benjamin
Mo
Benjamin
Benjamin là roll number 261 Ngô Đinh Liền chuan Felty nghe deep Felty nghe thế cậu chứ
Tin fela.
tin fella mo okay ram nun kimi oma chuan tu nghe gần line zo lo le P02 hi tu nghe khá mình
Lên mà ngại sang đi.
oi sangi chuan tu nghe kala 213 tu nghe mình khá
Larin puya.
arin puya mo in mình khret kim har don ria mai si anita dang lo boka Ola heng pon in se kha chuan in mình ka hakin bo dak tak join khrelo ni kena zoi moi in shit kan tum mai don nia har da lek dona. Okay, we'll start our lecture. So today we'll start with the first unit of electronics, electronics 1, and I'll be teaching all the 5 units here. So the first unit will consist of the basics of semiconductors like P and N type semiconductors, energy level diagram, conductivity, mobility, concept of drift, velocity, Hall effect, Hall coefficient, etc., etc. Okay, so we will cover all this topic in the first unit, and we will move on and we'll try to study later on transistors, amplifier, and like operation amplifier and logic diagrams and all. Okay, so let us start with electrons in a solid. So we all know that like this is just like a fundamental background we already know. We all know that if you have an isolated atom, we have a set of energy levels, and the electrons in an atom, they will occupy a set of energy levels. And we all know that there is a certain electronic configuration like 1s2, 2s2, 2p6. We all have studied that in our elementary chemistry also. So depending on depending on the energy state, the electrons may occupy any of the set of energy levels. But when you form a solids, each individual atom having a set of energy levels, each individual atom having a set of energy levels will not have an independent energy levels anymore, right? So the independent energy levels, the independent energy levels, that particular identity will be gone. And when it forms a solids, all these energy levels will, when they merge, they will form a kind of energy band. So in short, let us just make a statement like that. So when you form a solid, instead of having individual energy levels, they will form what is called a continuous energy bands. And those electrons which are in the outermost cell, we call it valence cell. Those valence cells, they may form chemical bonding with the neighboring atoms. When they form a chemical bonding with the neighboring atoms, like in forming a solids, they will occupy an energy band called valence band. So the valence band will be an energy band occupied by those electrons forming a chemical bonding with the neighboring atoms, right? Electrons from one atom, when they form a solid, they will have a chemical bonding at the outermost electrons, and the energy state of those valence electrons having a chemical bonding with the neighboring atoms is known as what is called energy bands. They are considered to lie in the in the valence bands. Okay, and above that valence band, there will be, like in some solids, there will be certain empty energy bands. We call it a conduction band. In the case of what is called semiconductors, but in the case of conductors and all, we don't have what is called conduction band in particular, and some of the valence electrons, those electrons in the outermost energy cells, some of them, they may not even participate in a chemical bonding. They may remain in the free electron states, and they are the conduction electrons. Okay, so depending on the energy band diagram here, we can classify solids into, just a minute. Oh, hello. Oh, sorry. Ingat yang ta. Attendance office lampang lo belok mai ro ka class ka nei lak lo chat. So where was I? Yeah. So depending on the electronic band structure, materials are classified into what is called insulators, semiconductor, and conductors. And as I was saying, when the valence electrons form chemical bonding, they are considered to remain in a certain continuous energy band known as valence band. So if the next excited state, that is what we define it as, what we call it as a conduction band, if the next excited state conduction band is at a very at a very high energy, that is above 5 electron volt, from this valence band, then we can classify that kind of solid as insulator, like your window glass and all, plastics and all, they are all insulators, because when they form a solids, like the energy gap between what is called the valence band and the conduction band is greater than 5 electron volt, and therefore in this kind of solids you cannot have any conduction electrons. Okay, and the next classification, let us jump to this material called conductor. So I was saying some of the valence electrons, they will form chemical bonding, and they will remain in what is called this energy band called valence band. And some valence electrons, they do not participate in a chemical bonding, so they will just lie around within the solids, and those electrons will form what is known as a conduction electrons. So in this kind of solids like conductor, the conduction band and the valence band, they are sort of having a they are not having any separation. So in short, I think we can say that they are not having any separation. So electrons, free electrons are there within the solids, and also there are some electrons which are in a chemical bonding with the neighboring atoms. And in addition, in this kind of material, because of the presence of large number of these free electrons which can easily move, they can easily conduct electricity. They are known as conductors, right? So we know that, like, current is due to flow of electrons. Right? So if we have electrons in a solids, and if those electrons are participating in a chemical bonding, and they are not free to move from one location to another location, then they cannot contribute any electric current. So, like, as you can see here in insulators, even though we have large quantities of electrons, but these electrons are not free electrons. So they cannot move from one place to another, then they cannot contribute to any electrical current. But however, in a conductors, just a minute. Oh, hello, Pumapui. ô vai nó mà biết in chung anh tông mày ô anh thuộc lâu ô nia kudan tu rang ti ka hlau de lek to zo lo chol phot te ka te pi dor thi ka betlang thei se lo wa an chun lai te kha an simen back thum khan khoi me ka mo khami kha ami zo pathum la khan khoi thei an ti kha o o vocal patient la an khotlang phoi tu da pi dor thi be ka tuma pi dor thi khanin I alo ka betlang thei se lo mo pi dor thi kha bi ka hei kami simen back thum man lo cho to kha chun min phal sak lo chon ti khan kan pe anga ni me a poi chong lo wa I kha kha chu khotlang phoi tu tan phal lo ka chon kan ti lo me nga amaro chu I nimin lama khain I nge local council kha min phal sak to si wang khan na tho tu ram kan de kan lo thok ve ro ta kan lo thiam lo ni te po ka ti lo mo a chan chu I na tho phal ti khan local council lamina thu min pek to wang khanin a local council khotlang phoi tu te peren phal cho lo chuan kan thok nga ni me lom ti ru ru de kha kan lo thok ve ro ta khamia kha khamia wang khan tu kan zing lama po khan intria thiam lo na kha lo thleng pala ni ya chu ke mani thiam lo tak po ni ya min lo phal sak to wang khan voin po thok le me tu ra kan nge wang khan in kan lo thoka kan thiam lo tak po ni ya kan so kan thiam lo ni ya mi kan lo thok le ngo ti chu kan lo ngai to thui lo dewa amaro chu kan kan he kan vai te po kan vai thok te po an ma ni chen na tong hal sat turin kan hril hal thawa khoi aman chok lo ngati hian tom chatanga chati ro ro chon mi hring ve tho ni eile in tur te ma mo he kan kai to saklo thei si lo te an ti lo mo zol do de wi ni biak ngai ni mei chon chati lai ka ra sim min lo phal sak to si wang khan cement mixer in cement ku bek thum kan lo chok to khu kan pe rol mei don nge nia nga nge ami zo na thokate khuanin khumi te khu pe rol aya min han chun lu sakten phal sak thengem tila na ma ni na khumi cement bek thum in cho sap ko pe rol me ro min ti pat kan pe rol me nga kha kha chu in khotlang phoi tu de rural dan ni se ti ro chuan min phal sak the ni chon khu chu mizo thok te chau khuain han chung zau se min phal lo chuan khoi am khuain in hoi vela khuan kan bun me kan cement cho sa khu chu khutia machine cho sa om khu chu khoro vek dona in hoi vela bun ro chu min phal sak me wala te ti lo mo zol do de do ran ngai ni kha aboi thak ya mai karin nai de in limin an kan local council in kan phal ni do khu chu có người lâu trời nó tập cái chung ô ô khốt lang phơi tôi đang phật lộ cho anh mà thì cần tụ xuống lâu khốt lang đàn cần zo mà ngay chú cần rưu tập po nè mà rồi chú đi mình làm mình phật sao các bạn cần lâu thì tổ sĩ chú tiếng chú cần ôm gì nè cần chân zoom tổ lâu mà chân zoom chú mình phật lộ cái chuan khốt lang phơi tôi râu rэл đàn đó là cần ôm đàn tú nè mấy vắt thì mấy tại bố máu bùi class cái là lộ rồi sẽ chú cần thì đàn tú nè mấy đúng không ồ ồ ồ ồ anh có nên sẽ cần ai thu nuôi rồi đâu in vật tiền ai nhỉ mấy cái mà cái ron calve tu lên tiền này được pa ron calve sen tiền lại cái ron can phe về lại mình cái mỗi class cái là rồi thế po là thu nuôi rồi đâu hắn tiền là thì mình phal sa cái vàng hắn anh mà lâu mấy tuổi lâu mình phal nó hậu được cái trang cái cái trang cái đó vàng cái lâu tiền quá ta khá cái tiền lâu được là là so sorry I'm having a building construction going on so There's some problem there. I think I should stop here because I'm quite disturbed. Okay. To me ang loga ka sada ka vai na thok te ku dan lo thak de la ka boy de la ka mo. Ka to mai don ni oh if you have type your attendance into the boy
Yes,
chat.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
Exit meeting mero ka pokan exit menga. Type attendance in type to so no. Attendance ka record vega.